Hello pilots, just a quick one from me just before this video gets started, just after I've kind of finished editing this one. Now, as you can probably see clicking into this one, this is quite a long one. Wasn't initially anticipating for this to go as long, so apologies for that. But I do hope that you kind of find it interesting enough to stick around until the end. And of course, let me know if you'd like to see this kind of content going forward, this kind of analysis content, or just be sticking to gameplay and whatnot. I had a good time making it at least, but obviously I want to know if you guys kind of enjoy seeing this more analytical kind of content. Now, just a quick little apology with this. I'm still getting used to using a proper desk mic when it comes to recording videos, as opposed to like a lapel mic that's attached to me. So there's quite a few points in the video where I've kind of leaned away from my mic and can't really hear what I'm saying properly because it stopped picking it up. So I do apologize for that. I'll make sure I'm on top of that going forward. Again, this was probably about 3 hours total of recording, so I was a little bit kind of about going back and re-recording it, so I did just leave it as it is for now. It's only a couple kind of small points though, so I hope it doesn't impact things too much. But aside from that, yeah, just as mentioned, a quick little thing from me about that before jumping in, so we'll jump over to the proper video now. Enjoy! Alright, welcome back fighters, or what do we call players in Gundam? In Gundam, I suppose, would it be pilots, commanders, something like that? Welcome back for another Gundam video. So as discussed on our tutorial video, what we're doing today is we're going to go through all of the 4 starter decks that we currently have in the game. And I was originally going to go through set 1 as well in a separate video, but given that the release was just on this most recent Friday, I figured we'll just kind of lump that one in with today as well. So we'll kind of go through everything that is out at this current point in time. I've also got a couple little spoilers for the next starter decks coming out that we can go over as well, so I'm excited to have a look at those. But without further ado, let's jump straight on in. Again, because we are combining all 4 starter decks and set 1, this may be a little bit of a longer one, but we'll kind of get through the analysis as quickly as I can, so I can let you get on with your day. Now we'll start off with the starter decks themselves. So first of all, we have ST1 Heroic Beginnings. This is a blue-white starter deck and features units from the original Mobile Suit Gundam series, as well as the most recent, well, not most recent anymore with G-Quux coming out, but the more recent, I suppose, Witch from Mercury series. So let's jump in and have a look. So starting off with the blue side here, we've got our blue legendary rare for the set, the Gundam RX-78-2. This is a nice simple one at level 4, 3 cost for a 3/4. It has repair 2, and during your turn, all of your units get AP +1. This one links with Armor Array, so it does have a link target. And yeah, look, this one's really solid. Just a nice little repair 2 at the end of turn means he's really good for trading into your enemy's units, as long as he can survive the fight, because he'll just keep on repairing himself as he goes and keep swinging him into things. Which is really nice, as well as the during pair, just a flat, unconditional, all of your units get AP +1. That is quite strong, I think. And we are already seeing with a lot of the kind of preliminary lists that are doing well between the starter decks and set 1. Blue-white is doing very well so far, just with a combination of a lot of things, and the starter deck Gundam here is definitely one of those contributing factors. As we flick through, we'll also see that all of these cards have like a secondary version. Basically, every single starter deck is going to come with a little bonus pack. So you can see here where to get it, Heroic Beginnings ST1 bonus pack. And that bonus pack will basically just come with a full art or foil or alternate art kind of version of one of the cards in the deck. So there is a chance for you to get kind of the bonus pack version of the legendary rare as well, being the Gundam or the Aerial in this one. As well as there being a very low chance when you open your starter deck of it being what most people are calling a god deck, which is a full deck full of the bonus pack alternate arts. So do let me know if you've managed to get one of those. I'm sure it's a very pretty one, certainly a sight to behold. Next up, we have the Gundam MA form. Now, this is a pretty solid one, a level 5, 3 cost for a 4/3. The level cost is quite high, but at the same time, it does have quite a good effect, and that's just when paired with a white-based team pilot, so it doesn't have to be Armoro, just any white-based team pilot. It draws 1, and this is a baseline 4/3, So a really solid beater, just good for swinging into things, especially if it's paired, you're going to be breaking through a lot of the bases pretty easily, and just that nice little draw one is a really nice addition as well. We've got a nice vanilla here, level 3 2-cost gun cannon at a 2-4. Not a bad stat line. Normally when I'm looking at vanilla units and kind of comparing them to each other, it's nice to see like a low cost combined with at least 3 AP so that they can be a good EX base breaker. That's not to say that the gun cannon is a bad card necessarily. It's definitely a nice defensive card and good for trading as well with its high HP there, just maybe not as good of a base breaker necessarily. We've also got the gun tank here. So this is level 3 2-cost on deploy. Choose one enemy unit with 2 or less HP and rest it. That is a 2-3. This is a pretty nice one. Very good for just kind of getting in nice and low to the ground and just trying to tap down any of your opponent's blockers, potentially, their low HP blockers, or even just even bigger blockers that you've just dealt a little bit of damage to, so on and so forth. Just a nice little way of trying to get in for damage or even trying to finish off the game. Next, we've got the level 2 1-cost 2-2 Gym. Again, this is a vanilla card. Now, I would rate this one a little bit better than the gun cannon almost. Again, not to say that the gun cannon is bad, but I think this one kind of trumps out on it, even though it does have 2 AP, just because of the fact that this one is also a 1-cost. So if you're going second, you've got your EX resource, you flip your resource for the turn, you're now at level 2, you can get this guy out nice and early, very low to the ground, and ready to swing next turn for a singular cost, and you get to keep your EX resource, which is really nice. Alright, moving on to the white side now, in terms of units at the very least. We've got the Gundam Aerial Permit Score 6, and the art on this one, oh my god, this has got to be one of my favourite ones across all 4 starter decks, to be honest. I'm certainly a bit partial to the Aerial, but even then, wow, this art is absolutely incredible. The Aerial Permit Score 6 is a level 5 4-cost 4-4 that links with Soletta Mercury, and when it's paired, you choose one enemy unit that is level 5 or lower, and it gets AP -3 during this turn. So definitely not a bad effect. Good for, again, it all just comes down to that kind of trading side of things, and I think that's what makes blue-white so powerful at the moment. Not that I don't think I've been seeing many lists with the Aerial necessarily, but blue and white is just really efficient at making solid trades where a lot of the time they're actually going to be surviving. So you can just be swinging the Aerial into whatever you give AP -3 during the turn, and a lot of the time the Aerial is going to come out on top, taking it out and surviving. So it's a nice little, a nice unit beater. We've also got the Gundam Aerial Bit On form. Now, if I'm comparing this one to the gun cannon as well, it is a level 4 2-cost 3-4. So if we were to just quickly come back to our gun cannon there for a moment, they do cost the same. However, the gun cannon is 1 level lower, and that's mainly going to be the reason for it being a 2-4 instead of a 3-4. But really, this is the same reason. Say it's turn 4 and you, for whatever reason, just haven't really been able to take out your opponent's EX base as of yet. This is going to be just a really nice base breaker, essentially. Not the best out there for sure, but definitely nice at the very least, especially if you can get it linked in with Soletta as well. Next up, we have the level 1 1-cost 1-1 Demi Trainer. This a lot of starter decks kind of have some form of copy of this that is just a level 1 1-cost 1-1 blocker. Certainly not a bad card. I do tend to see that a lot of the times these ones are the first ones to come out. Going into the game, I was kind of under the impression that a lot of these kind of level 1-cost cards would be quite good. But just because of things like the EX base and even bigger bases as well, especially with how big blocker is in the meta at the moment, they're not quite living up to snuff necessarily, but definitely a nice turn 1 play if you do still have them in the deck. Now we've got our level 2 2-cost Zawart here. This is a blocker, and it can't choose the enemy player as its attack target, which is a shame given that it is a 2-cost 3-2 here. But this is just a really solid little blocker. Being the 3 AP there means that given that it has blocker, it'll just make your opponent kind of think a little bit before swinging into you. Just in case you do go ahead and decide to throw your Zawart in front of them, you're probably going to be taking things out around the time of the game that you are playing this. So it's a nice little hold off for the time being. Next up, we've got Amuro Ray here. Now, Amuro is probably one of the best pilots in the game at the moment, to be honest. Even out of the starter deck, he is still being played in a lot of the blue-white decks, and really anything that has blue in it, you'll generally want to throw Amuro into it. So Amuro is a level 4 1 cost. He is a +2/+1, so really good stat boosts there. And a flat when paired, not even linked or anything like that, choose one enemy unit with 5 or less HP and rest it. So just a really simple, really solid pilot that is seeing a lot of use in blue at the moment. We've also got Soletta here. Now this is probably one of my favorite pilots in the game at the moment. I really like her effect. She's a level 4 1 cost +1/+2, so more of a defensive pilot, but still a nice little AP boost as well. So on attack, once per turn, she can choose one of your resources and set it as active, which is really nice. So I could see this going well in green decks, where you can kind of ramp up as you go, and then kind of spend big, and then use Soletta to start untapping so you can start playing some more cards as well. Next up, we have a command pilot card here. We've got Thoroughly Damaged. This is a level 2 1 cost. So on the command card side of things, during main, we can choose one rested enemy unit and deal 1 damage to it. So nice little bit of ping if you are resting things down pretty regularly, or if your opponent is swinging pretty heavily. Or you can also pilot this one as Hayato Kobayashi and give whatever unit you'd like a +0 and +1. So not too bad at all, and this does link with, let's see here, which one was it? I believe it is the, here we go, the gun tank. So they're kind of wanting to do similar things, I suppose, things to do with resting, and then he can link with the gun tank to make it a 2/4 as well, so certainly not bad. Another command pilot card here, and this one is the pilot that can link with the gun cannon. So we've got Kai's Resolve here, a level 3 1 cost command card. During main, we can choose one friendly unit and it recovers 3 HP. And this will kind of do the opposite during the pilot of Hayato. Kai Shiden here will be able to give a +1/+0. Now, this one, I'm not seeing it run too much. It's not a bad effect at all. I could actually see this being quite fun if you're kind of building a deck geared towards the clan battle format, because you can use this, given that it does say friendly unit, to heal both your units and your ally or your partner in clan battle. We've also got Unforeseen Incident here. Now this one I think is quite good. It's a level 3 1 cost. It can be used at both main and action, and has a burst effect to activate the main effect. And that is simply to choose one enemy unit. It gets AP -3 during this turn. So this is really nice defensively, both coming out of shields, so long as your opponent still has some units to attack with, or just using during the action step when your opponent does attack. If they have a unit that has 3 or less AP and this drops it to 0, that means that even if it does hit your shields, it actually can't break them because it's not dealing any damage, and your shields are all treated as having 1 HP. Lastly, moving on to the bases, we have the white base. Now this is a very powerful one at the moment. This is a level 3 2 cost 0/5 base, and this one has, so as normal, on deploy, you'll add one of your shields to your hand. As an activate main, so once per turn we can pay 2 resources, and we're basically going to make a token whose strength depends on how many units we currently have in play. So we're able to make a 3/3 Gundam token if we have no units in play, a 2/2 gun cannon if we have only 1 unit in play, or we can deploy a 1/1 gun tank token if we have 2 or more units in play. This is just a really nice way of getting bodies back onto the board if you've been kind of heavily interacted with, or even just a nice little thing to use 2 extra resources on and just make yourself a little 1/1 that can help attack next turn. We've got the Astakasia School of Technology Earth House here. This is a level 2 1 cost 0/5 base. As usual, on deploy, add one of your shields to your hand. This is also an activate main. For no cost, you can rest this base, and all friendly link units get AP +1 during this turn. Now, this certainly isn't a bad effect necessarily. I don't think it is quite as powerful as the white base being able to give us new units. It is very dependent on making sure that you're seeing the right units and you are forming link pairs, but provided you can, this is a really nice little kind of board boost. Alright, so next up we have starter deck 02, Wings of Advance. This is a blue-green starter deck focused around the units from the Gundam Wing series. Starting off with the green side of things for the units, we have the Wing Gundam. This is the legendary for the green side. This is probably one of the stronger cards in the game at the moment, and is one of the few things that I'm seeing that is kind of going against, or kind of holding its own against a lot of blue-white command decks, and that is kind of green-white control and aggression, and the Wing Gundam is a really big part of that strategy. So the Wing Gundam is a level 6 4 cost, so pretty high up there, but we'll see soon that kind of green is able to handle that side of things. Wing Gundam is a 4-5 unit that links with Hero Yui and has Breach 5, meaning that if it destroys an enemy unit in battle, even if it's destroyed in the process, it is still going to deal 5 damage to your enemy unit's shield area, essentially. So that can either punch through a shield or it will break most bases in the game at the moment. It also does have the very scary second line of text there. This unit may choose an active enemy unit that is level 4 or lower as its attack target. So if you think that your opponent's going to block, and to be honest, even if they do block, you'll still get your breach, but you can actually aim at their active blockers provided that they are level 4 or lower. And he's already a 4-5 on his own. Hero makes him very, very big, so he becomes a very big threat when he comes down. Next up, we have the Wing Gundam Bird Mode. Now, this is a little bit about what I was just talking about. We'll see kind of the green side of things of what it can do with resources to kind of advance the board state, and this is one of those examples. We've got the Wing Gundam Bird Mode, which is a level 3 3-cost 2-2 that also links with Hero Yui, and simply all it does is on deploy, it's going to place 1 EX resource. So it's a really good ramp to try and start getting you ahead of your opponent for really big explosive turns later on. We've also got the Gundam Heavy Arms here, a level 5 3-cost. It is a 3-4 and links with Troa Barton. During pair, during your turn, when this unit destroys an enemy unit with battle damage, deal 1 damage to all enemy units that are level 3 or lower. So if your opponent's playing very low to the ground, particularly in like a Zeon Rush style strategy potentially, this is going to be really nice for punching into your opponent's bigger units and then pinging the rest of their board, and either just dealing it 1 damage to kind of get them across the line or even destroying them as well. We've got the Gundam Sandrock here, and this is one of our vanillas, so this is going to be a level 4 2-cost. It's a 4-3, so pretty nicely statted actually, and it can link with Quattro Reverber Winner. Next up we have the Maganak. Again, I actually think this is a much nicer statted unit as well because it's a level 2 2-cost. That is a 3-2. No link, unfortunately, but if you do see this early, this is a really nice EX base breaker. Moving on to the blue units, we've got the legend for that side. We have the Tallgeese here. This is a level 5 4-cost 4-4 that links with Zex Merkis. During our main phase, once per turn, we can pay 4 and set this unit as active. Now that doesn't have any restrictions like the blocker restands do, given that at the very least this isn't a blocker, that it can't attack for the rest of the turn or anything like that. As long as you have the spare resources to go around, this is just a really nice double striker. So long as, again, you don't have too much to pay for otherwise, because real 4 cost to do this is quite expensive. Got another one of the vanilla units here. This is the level 2 2-cost Leo, which is a 2-2. And despite being a very low level unit, this one can actually link with Oz trade units, so that's quite nice as well. Then we have the blocker, and this is a pretty solid one as well, kind of more along the lines of the Zawart from ST1, but this is a level 2 2-cost 2-1 blocker, so relatively nicely statted and nice and low to the ground as well. And similar to the Demi-Barding, we've got the level 1 1-cost Tragos here, which is a 1-1 blocker. Moving on to our pilots, we've got Hero Yui here. This is definitely the star of the show, especially when it comes to the Wing Gundam. Alright, so he's a level 4 1-cost pilot. He has got +2, +1, so very nice stats there. And even better is during link, so when he's on either the Wing Gundam Bird Mode or just the Wing Gundam, he's going to be giving them an additional AP +1 and HP +1, so he's going to make them very big, very tanky units. We've also got the Tallgeese's pilot here, Zex Merkis. During link during your turn, when this unit destroys an enemy unit with battle damage, draw 1. So if you are in a kind of opportunity to be punching into multiple units with the Tallgeese, this is quite nice to be honest, because Zex is going to make the Tallgeese a pretty large unit. If you can then attack and then pay the cost to restand him, if you're attacking into 2 units, this is not a once per turn, so you will be drawing 2 if you take out 2 of them. So definitely very nice if you can see the right cards to pull it off. We've got our command pilot cards here, starting off with simultaneous fire. So as main on the command side of things, we can at level 4 pay 1 cost to choose one of our units, and it gains breach 3 during this turn. Definitely not bad. I do see this one getting taken out a fair bit, but I do still think it's relatively nice. At the very least in early game, if you're again struggling to kind of take out the EX base and get around your opponent's things, this is at the very least going to punch down an EX base. And then on the pilot side, we've got Troa Barton for the Gundam Heavy Arms, and that's going to be a +1/+1 unit. We then have the Sandrock's pilot here with Peaceful Timber. On the pilot side, we've got Quattro Reverber Winner. Again, this is the Gundam Sandrock's partner. That's going to be a +1/+1. During our action step, during this battle, your shield area cards can't receive damage from enemy units that are level 4 or lower. So if your opponent's kind of trying to rush you out, or even just has a lower level unit that they're trying to attack in with, this is a really nice way of shutting that down. Next on to the command cards, we've got the Siege Ploy, a level 3 1 cost that can be used at both main and action. We choose one enemy unit with 5 or less HP and rest it. So if you think your opponent's going to be swinging in with multiple units during your turn, you can kind of wait till they attack with the first one and then use this to set down one of their others. Or you can use this during the main phase on your turn to maybe rest down a blocker or a unit that you want to be swinging into. Lastly, moving on to the bases, we have the green one, the St. Gabriel Institute. So this is a level 2 2 cost, again 5 HP base. On deploy, you're going to add one of your shields to your hand, then you'll look at the top 2 cards of your deck and return one to the bottom and one to the top. So just given that the kind of state of the game at the moment is that we don't have too much card draw aside from blue and white, this is just a nice little bit of top deck filtering to try and find the cards that you're after. It would be nice if you could kind of put them back either on top or bottom, so that you could put both to the bottom if you wanted, or put both on top if you wanted to keep them. But look, we'll take what we can get at this point in the game for sure. We've then got the Corsica base. Now this one's not too bad. It's a level 3 3 cost, so getting up there a bit with the bases, to be honest. But again, 5 health, and it's an interesting one. So on deploy, you'll add one of your shields to your hand. Then if it's your turn, deploy a Tall Geese, which is a 4/2 unit token. However, if you already have a Corsica base in your trash, you're actually going to make a 2 actually 1/1 unit tokens instead. So definitely not bad. It's a bit of a shame if you do hit this in your shields on your opponent's turn because you're not going to get those tokens. But certainly not a bad way to fill out a board. At the very least, you are getting 2 of the 1/1 tokens, so you're getting 2 bodies instead of the 1 larger one. Alright, so now we have Zeon's Rush. This is a red-green starter deck, and is focused on the Zeon units, both from the original Gundam and Gundam Unicorn. So starting off with the red side, we have the very big, very scary Sinanju. This is a level 6 5 cost, so definitely a expensive unit, but well worth it, I think. It is a 5/4 that works with full frontal. During pair, he has high maneuver, meaning that he can't be blocked, so very scary late game. And during your turn, when this unit destroys an enemy shield area card with battle damage, you can choose one enemy unit and deal 2 damage to it, which is really, really nice. We have Angelo's Girazulu here. This is the first card in any of the starter decks where we're seeing the support mechanic coming in. So this is a level 4 3 cost 3/3 that links with Angelo Salpa. And on our main phase, we can activate the support by resting it and give one of our other friendly units 2 AP since it is support 2. Thing to know as well with support is that because it's an ability, not like an attack or anything like that, this can be activated the turn that these units come out. Got a nice vanilla here, just a level 3 2 cost 3/2, so again a nice little EX base breaker. The Girazulu also links with Neo Zeon trait pilots, so if you have any of those in hand, again this is a solid little base breaker for early on in the game. Another support card here, we've got the level 2 2 cost 2/1, no link on this one, but this is the Gaza D sleeves. And again, just like the previous one, this is again support 2, so we can, during our main phase, rest this to give us a +2 AP of our other units. Another vanilla here, we've got a level 1 1 cost 1/2. Now, unlike the other decks, this one actually doesn't have blocker, but to make up for that, it is a 1/2. Not a bad card, but look, I think I probably would have preferred if this was a 2/1 that didn't have any effects to at least try and help with the bases on early game. Moving on to our green units, we've got the Shaz Zaku 2, our other legend for the deck. And this is a level 3 2 cost 3/2 that links with Shar Aznable. When this one's destroyed, we're going to look at the top 3 cards of our deck, and we can reveal one Zeon or Neo Zeon unit card, so specifically has to be a unit from among them to our hand, and we'll return the remaining cards randomly to the bottom of your deck. So if you do have this and Shar in hand, this is a nice little kind of pop it on the board, swing it into one of your opponent's units to try and take it out. And if they do trade, then you get to do a little bit of filtering through the top of your deck to try and find something to replace it as well. Got another level 1 1 cost here in the 1/2 Zaku 1. So I suppose if you're kind of level 2 or level 3, just in those first couple of early phases, and you have a couple of these level 1 1 costs, then they'll definitely be nice to just try and flood the board with, which I suppose is really the kind of idea of Zeon's Rush. But again, not having any of those blocker units is definitely a little bit rough. Now this is probably one of my favorite cards to be playing in this style of deck at the moment. This is the level 2 1 cost Zaku 2. It is a 1/2, and this is a fantastic EX base breaker because when it attacks, it's going to get +2 AP during this turn. So going second on turn 1 or going first on turn 2, you can get this guy down for really, really nice and cheap, and as soon as he can attack, he's going to be breaking EX bases straight away. Love, love, love this one. We've also got the Goof here, so this is the level 3 3 cost. It's a 2/3 and links with Rambaral. On deploy, it's going to deploy 1 rested Zaku 2 token, and this is an effect that we're going to see a little bit in this deck. Certainly not an effect that I like. I don't mind it. It's just a little bit rough that they come in rested, so that your opponent can basically swing into them before they're able to do anything. But I suppose that is at least diverting attention away from your shields and your other more scary units as well, so not too bad. So next up for our pilots, we've got the Sinanji's pilot, full frontal. He's a level 6 pilot for only 1 cost, but that level is going to make sense in a moment. He's a +2/+2, so really nice stats. And when paired, not when linked, you may deploy 1 Neo Zeon or Zeon unit card that is level 4 or lower from your hand. So this is a really nice when paired effect. So while he is cheap, the high level at least does kind of make sense for an effect like that. We've got the other star of the show here, Shah Aznable himself, a level 3 pilot who is 1 cost and gives +1/+1. On attack, during this turn, this unit will get an additional AP +1, and if it's a link unit, it gains high maneuver, meaning that it can't be blocked. So definitely a really nice effect here as well. We've then got Indignation here. This is one of our command pilot cards. So for the command side of things, at a level 2 1 cost during both main and action, we can choose 1 friendly unit and it gets AP +2 during this turn. So if you have a rested unit and your opponent's trying to swing into it and are kind of going to come out on top on the trade, keeping their unit, this is a nice little thing to boost its power to kind of take out the other unit alongside it. And then on the pilot side, we've got Angelo Salpa, who is a Neo Zeon trait +1/+0. We've then got Close Combat, and I think this is definitely one that's going to be pulled out of this deck and put into a lot of other decks going forward. It is a level 2 2 cost both on main and action, and on burst we will activate the main effect as well. That is just to simply choose 1 enemy unit and deal 2 damage to it. The difference here between kind of just dealing 1 damage and 2 damage I think is actually really significant in the game state at the moment, so I think this is a really fantastic action step card. We've got our next command pilot card here in green. We have the Blue Giant, which is a level 4 1 cost. On the action step, we can choose 1 friendly unit, and it can't receive battle damage from enemy units with 2 or less AP during this battle. So a little bit restricted, honestly, with the kind of 2 or less AP, but again, it'll be good for those kind of low to ground rush strategies against you. Otherwise, on the pilot side, we have Rambaral, who's going to be a Zeon pilot that gives +1/+1. Next up, we've got the bases for this one, starting off with the Relula. A level 3 2 cost 5 HP base, and on deploy we're going to add 1 of our shields to our hand as usual, and then we'll choose 1 enemy with 5 or less AP and deal 1 damage to it. This is nice in the fact that this isn't on just on our turn, like a lot of these kind of deploy and then do an effect ones are. So it can be nice, again, just against those low to the ground strategies, or even just finishing something off if they try and hit into your shields and hit this coming out of it. And then wrapping up the Zeon Rush, we do have the Falmel, level 3 2 cost base, 5 HP as normal. We're going to add a shield to our hand, then if it's our turn, we'll deploy a rested Shah Zaku 2 token. Again, it is going to be rested, so our opponent does have the opportunity to attack into it, but being a 3 attack HP 1 unit, I think they're going to be a little bit more wary about doing so. Now, before set 1 did come out, the kind of blue-white control strategy was definitely a bit of a menace, using cards from both the normal Heroic Beginnings deck and a lot of the white side of this deck as well. So let's take a look at kind of what makes that so powerful. Starting off with our white units, we have the Ailstrike Gundam. This is a level 5 4 cost unit. It is a 4/4 and links with Kira Yamato. It is naturally a blocker, and when paired with a level 4 or higher pilot, which is a lot of pilots in the game at the moment, we can choose 1 enemy unit with 4 or less HP and return it to its owner's hand. This is a very powerful card. A 4/4 blocker is very, very scary, especially when it's got Kira under it, and is even bigger. And just being able to bounce something of 4 HP or less, again, that's significant in the game as it is at the moment, and returning it to its owner's hands, that is a very big tempo loss. So this is definitely a really powerful card and definitely one to watch out for. We've got the normal Strike Gundam here, again being a level 4 but 2 cost this time, a 3/3 also linking with Kiriyamato, and nice and simply on deploy, draw 1 then discard 1. Very nice kind of cycling through the deck, trying to find the pieces that you need. And again, if you can get Kira under it, just a very nice little early game aggression piece. We've also got the Mobius Zero here, level 3, 2 cost, 2/4, and links with Mulaflaga. Not a bad one. If you can get Mu under it, we'll have a look at his stats in a moment, but I would hope that this can be a nice little EX base breaker. Otherwise, just a nice little defensive thing for trades at the very least. Then we have Seed Strikes 1/1, level 1, 1 cost blocker in the Mobius. And look, it's exactly what it is. It's a level 1, 1 cost, 1/1 blocker. And that's basically it. For a bit more of an aggressive unit, again, this is our nice little EX base breaker here, a level 2, 2 cost Strike Dagger. No link target, but being a 3/2, as long as it sticks around, this is going to be nice for breaking through bases. Moving on to the red side of things, our legend for this deck is the Aegis Gundam. This is a level 4, 3 cost 4/3 that links with Athranzala. And on attack, if it's got 5 or more HP, we're going to choose one enemy unit that is level 5 or higher and deal 3 damage to it. To be honest, I've had a lot of... I did like this card a lot, but the level 5 or higher restriction on this is definitely pretty rough. It means that you're not really taking out a lot of the low-to-ground blockers, even a lot of legends, like, you know, look at this one. This is a level 4, so even this you're not... if it was a mirror, you're not taking it out with this. So just that restriction really hurts this card a lot, I think. We've got arguably the better form of the Aegis Gundam, even though this is a common instead of a legendary, and that is the Aegis Gundam MA mode, which is the level 4, 3 cost 3/4, again linking with Athranzala. And this one's just got naturally Breach 3. Nice and simple, and just that simplicity and kind of unrestrictedness of it just makes this a really nice card. Getting into our vanillas, we've got a level 2, 1 cost 2/2 in the Gin. Definitely not a bad card, nice to slam down on turn 1 if you've got it. We've got the Miguel's Gin as well. This is a not too bad effect. It's level 2, 2 cost 3/1 that links with Miguel Amon. During pair, if it is destroyed and you have another link unit in play, draw 1. If it comes up, it is really nice just to get more draw, but I've not really seen it come up too often, to be honest. Moving on to our pilots, we've got again one of the better pilots in the game at the moment, being Kiriyamato. He is a level 4 1 cost and gives 2/1, so really nice stat spread there. And on attack, he's going to choose an enemy unit and give it AP -2 during this battle. So again, we were talking before about blue-white just being really efficient and effective at those good trades where they're still keeping their unit afterwards. Kira is a really big contributor to that, and again, just really one of the better pilots in the game at the moment, especially in decks with Armoro. We've then got Athranzala, definitely one that I do like until I read him properly. He's a level 4 1 cost 1/2. It's not a bad stat spread. When linked during this turn, this unit may choose an active enemy unit that is level 5 or lower as its attack target. Now, I misread this one at first and I thought this was a during link, that it was just going to be able to continue attacking into your opponent's unit. But this is basically when linked for that turn and that turn only, you're able to attack level 5 or lower enemy units as its attack target. So definitely a lot more limited than I kind of first thought that this one was. Moving on to our commands, we have Striker Pack. This is a good one, but again, we're kind of seeing a little bit of a theme with these seed cards where they are pretty good but have a lot of limits with them. This is a 4 cost level 2. First of all, on burst, if you have no Earth Alliance unit tokens in play, deploy 1 Ale Strike Gundam that is 3/3 blocker. Or during your turn on main, if you have no Earth Alliance unit tokens in play, you can deploy your choice of either a 4/2 blocker or a 2/4 blocker, being one of the 2 different forms of the Strike Gundam. Now, again, just it's definitely a better card than I think I'm initially giving it credit for, but just that kind of restriction of not being able to have any other Alliance tokens in play, I think does limit this one a little bit. But the decision with the blockers at least is kind of nice. Then for our command pilot, for the white side, we've got the Hawk of Endymion. This is Mulaflaga. A level 2 1 cost on main or action, choose one enemy unit with 3 or less HP and return it to its owner's hand. I think this is really good. Oftentimes I think you're going to be using this as its command card side, but otherwise you do have the pilot Mulaflaga, which is a +1/+0, but just that bounce on both main and action is really quite nice. On the red side for the kind of split card, we've got the Magic Bullet of Dusk. Level 3, 1 cost main or action. We'll choose one friendly unit that is level 2 or lower and it gains first strike during turn. Again, with these limitations on these cards, this is a solid effect until we read that level 2 or lower. When it comes up, it's going to be really nice to try and help your unit survive by having first strike, but it's just so situational. Otherwise, on the pilot side, we've got Miguel Aimon for a +0/+1. Alright, now probably for one of my favorite bases in the game at the moment, that is the Archangel. This is a level 3 1 cost 5 HP base. On deploy, we're going to add a shield to our hand, as always. And then on our main phase, we can pay 2 once per turn to choose one friendly unit with blocker and set it as active. It can't attack during this turn. I love this effect. I think it's fantastic. It means you can be swinging into your opponent's shields or your opponent's units with your very big, scary Ale Strike Gundam, and then pay 2 to have it up as a blocker on your turn as well. Really, really nice. Then wrapping things up with the Vesalius. This is a level 3 1 cost 0/5. And again, activate main. I won't go over the deploy. We know what the deploys are at this stage. Activate main, rest this base, and choose one friendly unit. It gets AP +1 during this turn. Definitely not bad. Not incredible by any means, but just a nice little stat boost. It can help some of your littler units bust through some bases early on. Alright, so that's going to wrap up our starter decks there. Let's now move on to set 1, and that is Newtype Rising GD01. Alright, so moving on to the set 1 cards for Gundam, being GD01 Newtype Rising. Now I am actually refilming this little bit here, which is kind of why there's been a bit of a delay in getting this video out. I just wasn't super happy with the way that it was the first time around, and my opinions on a lot of cards have actually changed a bit since the set has actually launched and we've had some time to start playing with cards. So I feel like now that we've given it a bit of time, I can kind of evaluate these cards a little bit better. So let's start off with, we're going to be going over all of the blue cards first. Alright, so starting off with our Legends, at the top we have the in-set version of the Gundam, the RX-78-2. Now this is one that on first reading, I think it reads a little bit better than it actually is in practice. A lot of the time with the kind of way that you're running this card, you're not going to have a lot of white base team units out at the same time for you to get a lot of kind of value from the repair one. And the draw one is nice, but it can be a little bit difficult just to meet that 2 or more other units in play for the draw when paired. I think this card is definitely good if you're kind of wanting to run a more, say, mono blue white base team deck, which is definitely something that you can do at the moment. It may not be incredibly powerful, but I think it'd be a lot of fun at the very least. And in that form of deck, I think this is definitely going to be kind of more of a centerpiece card for that. With the more kind of competitive decks going around with your blue-white blockers and things like that, this doesn't quite stand up as much as the starter deck. Moving on, however, we'll flick through our alt arts here, and we've got the Unicorn Gundam Destroy mode. So this is probably a big part of one of my favorite combos in the game at the moment, and while this card is seeing a lot of play kind of by itself without the rest of the Unicorn package, it is seeing a fair bit with it as well, including in my blue-white deck. This is kind of what I've chosen to build it around. I think it's a lot of fun. So mainly just focusing around that when playing this card effect. So basically, when you do go to play the Unicorn Gundam Destroy mode, you're actually able to destroy one of your Link units with Unicorn mode in its card name that's level 5. And if you do, you basically reduce the cost of this to 0 level and 0 cost, so you can play it for free, and you can play it early if you have kind of enough resources for the full effect. Even outside of the effect, just the on attack, choose one enemy unit and rest it is really quite powerful. If you play this at the right time and your opponent's board state is kind of not great, you're kind of going to lock them out of the game for the rest of the game, more or less. Because essentially, you know, they'll play as many units as they can, you're going to attack with your Unicorn Gundam, you'll rest it down, then you'll attack into it with something else, so on and so forth, and you can kind of just keep them off the board for the remainder of the game. And also, just being that combo that I mentioned, we'll talk a little bit more about that as we cover the other Unicorn mode and Benaja. But essentially, it's kind of just a fun way of getting in a couple attacks in the one turn and getting a little bit of card draw off it as well, which I think is pretty neat. Next up, we've got the Unicorn Gundam 02 Banshee Destroy mode. So this, I think, it's in a bit of an interesting spot at the moment. It does have a very powerful effect, being that during Link on attack, you'll choose 12 cards from your trash, put them to the bottom of your deck, and then shuffle. And if you do, you set this unit as active and it gains first strike during the turn. So you're giving it first strike so you can attack into multiple units if you choose, or you can be breaking through multiple shields in one turn with just the one unit, as well as if you do have this one linked with Marita Cruz, every time you're swinging, you are pinging a unit for 1 damage as well. So this is very much used in the red-blue Newtype ping deck, which is probably my favorite deck in the game at the moment. I've been having a lot of fun with it, but you're not going to get this effect off a lot because 12 cards in this kind of game state is a lot, basically. The fun part about this card is the fact that this is not a once per turn effect. What that means is going forward, as soon as Bandai gives us any kind of, whether it be blue or in another color, gives us any kind of self-mill deck, similar to like a Beelzemon or something like that from Digimon, this card is going to be crazy, and I would expect to potentially see some form of like, there's probably going to be some form of OTK with this. Granted, OTK is tricky in Gundam with how it's built with the base system and everything like that. Maybe not an entirely OTK, but easily breaking through multiple shields in one turn. So I'm very keen to see what this card can do in that kind of format. Moving on to our rares now. So we've got the gun cannon here. It's a nice and simple level 3 2 cost, repair 1, choose an enemy with 2 or less HP and rest it. The main kind of deck that I've been seeing this around is some red-blue ping decks will have it, some won't. I'm personally not running it, but I do definitely see the value of this kind of card in a deck like that, just being able to rest down things so that you can swing into it and everything like that. Even bigger units, you're probably getting to that 2 HP threshold just because of how much ping damage you're throwing around with your Kshatriyas and your Maritas and everything like that. So while it may not be run in kind of every deck, I think it's very much a kind of flex choice. So like I said, I'm not running it, but I can definitely see the value of running it. And it's certainly not a bad card by any means. Next up, we've got the Unicorn Gundam Unicorn mode. So another part of our fun little combo from before. So the main part with this is obviously linking with Banagher links, and during link, if it's destroyed, you get Banagher back to hand and then discard 1. So essentially what we'll see is that Banagher, when he links, he gets you to, he draws you a card. So you'll basically play down your Unicorn mode, play your Banagher under it, link up, draw a card, make an attack, before you can then play your Unicorn Destroy mode for free by destroying your Unicorn mode. When you do so, Banagher comes back to hand, you'll discard 1, pop Banagher back under the Destroy mode so it can attack straight away and get to draw again. It's a very nice little combo. Hard to see just with the kind of level of card draw and filtering that we have in the game at the moment, but it definitely feels really, really good when it does come up. I do like this combo a lot, and it's kind of what I've, again, built my version of blue-white around. Also, probably has one of the best alt arts in the game at the moment. I unfortunately did not get any Unicorn mode or Destroy mode alt arts from my case, which I was a little bit upset about, but that's okay. I think it's something that I can probably slowly look at building up over time. Really, really love this art here. We've got the Delta Plus here. Now, this is another one of the ones that's kind of in a bit of a flex slot in red-blue ping as well. Basically, it basically just becomes a 4/4 when it's linked, and its link target in red-blue is going to be with Amuro, essentially. It's one that I believe I am currently running. I tend to see decks running either Delta Plus or Gun Cannon. I'm not 100% sold on the Delta Plus, mainly because I'm not 100% sold on Amuro in red-blue ping. For me personally, I'm currently of a mind of, do I put in maybe like a full frontal and a Sinanju from the Zeon Rush starter deck just to get even more kind of burn damage and potentially playing things out, but you don't really have a big mass of things that you can play out in the list with full frontal at the moment. So I think just kind of general value-wise, Amuro probably is the choice to go with, and ergo probably want to be playing the Delta Plus or the Gun Cannon. I probably wouldn't play both, but one or the other I think is good. Then got our Noan's Ares. This is just when it's destroyed, if you've got another Oz unit in play, draw 1. Not something that's really seeing a lot of play at the moment, just because we're not really seeing Oz decks. Tribal isn't really massive yet. I think we need the game to go into a little bit more, give it some more time to get more cards out for these kind of tribal strategies, more filtering, more searching, more drawing, so on and so forth. as well as just more dedicated support for these kind of tribal decks. But, you know, when it gets to the point where we do have more Oz units in the games, I think this is probably going to be a staple in that kind of strategy. Just not really doing anything at the moment. We've got our gun tank here. This is a very good little piece that I've been putting in into red-blue. It's just nice and simple, 1 cost on deploy. Choose 1 rested enemy unit and deal 1 damage. This is nice for hitting them below resting thresholds or bounce thresholds, so on and so forth. Anything that needs them, needs your unit to be... you know, like a 5 HP or less or anything like that, or just cleaning up some little blockers that might only be on 1 or 2 more health. So I really like this card a lot. We've got the G Fighter here, and I think this is definitely going to be one of those cards that you want to be running as a staple if you are choosing to do one of those kind of mono blue white base team decks. And basically, yeah, on deploy, just giving something high maneuverability. It's a nice way to either get in for some damage that your opponent might not be expecting, or even just finishing off the game, to be honest. So while white base isn't, again, one of those huge meta decks at the moment, this is definitely kind of a staple piece in that sort of deck. Got the Unicorn Gundam Banshee Unicorn mode here. Definitely a nice one. Nice and simple. Again, when paired, choose 1 enemy unit with 2 or less HP and rest it. So again, this is nice. It's a pretty solid body for 3 cost. Nice 4/3, so nice-ish stats, I would say. The main part, again, is going to be that when paired, just choosing an enemy unit with 3 or less HP and resting it. Again, it's nice and easy in red-blue a lot of the time to be hitting these HP thresholds, just because you're constantly hitting things with like 1 or 2 damage here and there and just slowly chipping them away. And then you're able to rest things and swing into them with things like your Banshee or your Kshatriya and everything like that. Just to keep your opponent's board under control. It's nice and aggressive. Loto, not too much to say here. Probably not going to be run a lot. Level 2, 2 cost, 2/2. There's kind of just better things to run at that kind of cost, essentially. Zex's Leo. Again, this is one of those ones that I think is going to be good once we have a higher concentration of Oz cards and more search and everything like that. So just the when paired, choose 1 enemy unit with 3 or less HP and rest it. At the moment, I think you just run Unicorn, unless you are going to be running Oz, more or less. What is nice about it is that it can link with either Zex or your Noin, who we'll see shortly, just those Oz trait pilots. So if you are able to rest something and then swing into it with Zex, if you do destroy it, you get that nice draw as well, which is good. Pretty solid one that we have been seeing floating around is, again, just similar to what we were just talking about, high level, but low cost and good stat line. No effects, really, but something good to just kind of fill in your turn if you're not seeing too much else to be doing. Sky Easy here, I've not really been seeing much of it. It's okay. During Link, activate on an action, choose an enemy, and choose 1 of your units, and it recovers 1 HP. It's a bit of a slow effect, and just being that it's quite small can be quite easy to deal with before that can kind of go off, I would say. Ball, we love the ball, to be honest. Level 1, 1 cost, 1/1, and on attack, choose 1 of your units, and it recovers 1 HP. To be honest, this effect's probably only going off 1 time, but I think if you are doing one of those little kind of Healy-focused white-based team builds, I think this is a great little card to have in it. Jagan here, again, probably one of those more white-based focused decks, even though it is an Earth Federation, but although, yeah, no, I suppose that does make it different, actually. So, Earth Federation, not too much at the moment, I wouldn't say, but if you are able to kind of hit that 2 or more Earth Federation units in play, card in hand gets cost -1, it's okay. A 2/3 for 1 is a nice little bonus, I would say. Stark Jagan, probably more of one of those things that, yeah, if you're going, again, kind of tribal with Earth Federation, you'll want to be using this. Just a 3/3 that has Repair 1. I liked it in Seals. I had fun using this in my deck when I was at the Sealed event, but I don't really see this going in any constructed decks at the moment. Got the Rizel. This is a very good card at the moment, I think. I'm loving it. It's just a 2 cost 4/3, absolute vanilla, no link or anything like that. Again, coming down to just that really nice, cheap vanilla unit with a good stat line, essentially. Your opponents don't really want to be swinging into it too much, but at the same time, they do kind of need to deal with it because it's just a low to the ground body with 4 AP and a solid amount of health to back it up. Gallant Custom, it's kind of just one of those things where and we'll kind of see this a lot with a lot of set 1 cards, is that it's a bit restrictive in its conditions. While your opponent has to have 4 or more enemy units in play, then it gains blocker. I don't think it's a particularly good payoff for that kind of condition either, because it's like, okay, great, well, my opponent's got 4 enemy units in play, and I have 1 unit that now has blocker. Cool. Not particularly impressive. Uncture, probably one of my favorite little parts of the red-blue ping at the moment. 2 cost, it's pretty much a gun cannon. Choose an enemy, 1 rested enemy unit, or gun tank, I should say, sorry. On deploy, choose a rested enemy unit and deal 1 damage to it. And a nice little stat line to go along with that, being 2 cost and 3/3 is really nice as well. Again, this just helps with chipping down all of your opponent's like blockers and other units that they might be swinging with as well, just for getting in that little bit of chip damage that red-blue ping is so good at. Pisces, it's a level 1, 1/2. Not much else to say about it. Where, again, when we kind of get into cards like this, realistically, they're kind of pack filler, but fun stuff to put in a sealed deck, I suppose, if you're at a pre-release event. And same for the Cancer here as well. I would say this is a little bit better. I think what is better at the moment, especially in sealed, is not necessarily stuff that you can play straight away, but stuff that you can play early at the very least, and it's got an okay stat line for being a 2 cost. Getting into our pilots now, so we've got Sailor Mass here. This is going to be great for, again, doing that white base team kind of tribal strategy if you wanted to be doing that. And basically it just gives any blue unit that it is paired to repair 1. So just kind of makes any of your white base team units that already don't have, or maybe are getting the repair 1 from the Gundam, because this will stack and it'll get repair 2 essentially. So it can just make your board a little bit more survivable and sticky. And here is our Banagher links. So as mentioned, when linked, draw 1, nice and simple. What is interesting with this one is that it's actually been seeing a little bit of play just in white, blue in general, with even if they don't actually have the unicorn package. Just because he's a 1 cost pilot that gives +2/+2. That is just a really solid stat line. So particularly we'll see when we look at something like the Freedom Gundam when we get to white. Just giving anything +2/+2 is pretty huge, even if you don't get that when linked draw 1 effect. We've got Ritter Marcanis here, so while the unit has repair, it gets AP +1. So even though this is an Earth Federation one, I think this could probably go well in like a white base focused team as well, since you're going to be getting repair on so many of your units. You can just kind of bump their power up as well. Intercept orders here, this is a nice little one to come out of shields if you are running it, so choosing 1 enemy unit with 5 or less HP and rest it. Again, it kind of relies on the situation where your opponent's going to have something that has 5 or less HP that they're going to be swinging in with, and then you can shut down and attack. Or if it's in hand, you can maybe get that with even a little bit more restriction, so you choose 1 to 2 enemy units with 3 or less HP and rest them. So if your opponent is going kind of wide with a lot of smaller units, it's definitely nice, but again, pretty kind of situational, I'd say. Show of Resolve, it's Show of Resolve. This is easily one of the best commands in the game at the moment. It's one of the things making blue-white so powerful. Just a nice symbol, level 4 3 cost, main, draw 2. No drawback, just draw 2. So you get a pretty much straight +1 to hand. It's a card game, drawing cards is good. Deep Devotion here, so we're getting into our command pilots as well. Choosing a friendly Link unit and it recovers 3 HP. That is pretty restrictive. Definitely nice to have like 3 HP for 1 cost, but yeah, definitely quite restrictive on that. But it is definitely nice that it's on the action step as well. And then you've got the pilot, which is just a flat +1/+0, but has that Oz trait as well. So again, if we see more Oz cards, I'm sure this will be great. Securing the supply line, all friendly units that are level 4 or lower recover 2 HP. Certainly not a bad card, I would say, just given that there is so many level 4s. I just think deck space is a little bit tight for it at the moment, especially because if you're running this in something, you're going to be running this in blue-white blockers, and I think if you're running this, you're cutting down on either your Overflowing Affection or your Show of Resolve, which I think isn't really worth it necessarily. Another command pilot here with the Stubborn Cog, so on main, we get to rest one of our friendly units and one of our enemy units. Not huge, I would say. I think the drawback of needing to rest one of ours as well isn't great, but at the very least, the rest on the opponent's unit is completely unrestricted. A lot of the time you're seeing rest like a 5 HP or less or something like that, or a 3 HP, so on and so forth. And then the pilot is a Earth Federation +0/+1, so it's alright. Sons of a Revolution, so on burst, draw 1 is kind of cute. And then we've got choose 1 rested enemy unit and deal 2 damage to it. I could see this probably maybe going into blue-red ping just to get a little bit more draw power, given how kind of piece reliant that deck is. As well as a little bit of, just a 2-cost deal 2 damage to something as long as it's rested is pretty nice, I would say. Alright, so moving on to the bases, starting off with Nahel Argama. This one is a conditional rest when it's deployed. 2 cost with 5 HP, and the opponent, that you can only rest something that's 3 HP or less. So I think given that this is 2 cost, I think the restrictiveness of it is a bit much. I think probably you would just prefer to run white base. And then lastly for blue, we have side 7 here. So this is just on main, rest the base, choose a friendly unit, and recovers 1 HP. If you are really leaning into that repair side of things and the white base, Earth Federation, so on and so forth, I definitely think this is good. But it is definitely held back by that 4 health there. I would say it's an okay card. Moving on to green here, so our first legend that we're looking at is the Shah's Gelgoog. I think this is probably the deck that's holding Zeon Rush together at the moment, but to be fair, it is a very good card. And that's essentially while he's sitting on the field, on your main phase, meaning the turn that you play him as well, you can discard a Zeon or Neo Zeon card, so throw it away. It has to be a unit card, but throw it away, and if it's not paired, then you pair a Newtype pilot level 3 or lower from Crash to the Shah's Gelgoog. So mainly, that's going to be Shah to make it a link unit, and Shah, again, giving the high maneuverability is very, very nice on that. I think it's a cute little combo because a lot of the things that you're going to be linking your Shah with, particularly both versions of the Shah Zaku 2, the one from the starter deck and one that we'll look at in a moment, they both do things when they're destroyed, so you really want to be swinging into your enemy units with them a lot of the time and just kind of brushing them off the board, and then you can bring your Shahs back and recycle them with the Shah's Gelgoog, which I think that kind of economy is really important to red and green at the moment because it doesn't have access to either Overflowing Affection or Show of Resolve, so it really kind of needs every little bit of advantage that it can by not using things from hand. Though, to be fair, you do need to discard to do this, but at the very least, it's kind of discard whatever you want to get exactly what you want, if that makes sense. We've got the big, bad, scary Wing Gundam Zero here as well. Now, this is probably one of the ones that my opinion has changed on the most since the game officially launching. When this card first got showed off, I kind of read it and went, oh my gosh, that's absolutely amazing. Wow, that's such a strong card. And then I saw the level 8 cost and was kind of like, ooh, okay, maybe not. But after seeing it in practice and after using it a little bit myself as well, it's really not held back by that at all, given how much ramp you have in green. I think I was a little bit held back just by thinking about how much the starter deck has, but now that we've got both First Contact, we've got Death Scythe, we have Wing Gundam Bird Mode, so on and so forth, I really don't think the level 8 and 8 cost is that much of a problem. So yeah, this is definitely a really scary unit. Just being able to nuke the board for 3 damage, everything that's level 5 or lower on deploy is really, really nice. And then the completely natural, not needing to pair or anything like that, high maneuver is very scary as well. With Hero Yui under it as well, I think this is currently the biggest unit in the game. So a real pain in the ass to get rid of once it's on the board as well. We've then additionally got the other side of the kind of green breach or wing package, being the Gundam Death Scythe. This guy is very scary. So level 6, 4 costs. When he's paired to an Operation Meteor pilot, you place a rested resource. So again, as we were talking about with that ramp, and then this unit gains first strike until end of turn. It's just a very scary unit. You're going to slam this down, you'll put Duo under it, and just hurl it into one of your opponent's units and everything like that, get rid of one of their big things, and that first strike is going to ensure that he sticks around as well, and he'll kind of become a bit of a priority for your opponent to get rid of, and as well as when you'll see when we get to Duo, but yeah, it can't have its AP reduced either, which is kind of one of those huge things that blue-white does to trade so effectively and everything like that. So it just kind of becomes this magnet that your opponent really has to take care of pretty quickly, otherwise it's just going to be shredding their board. Into our rares, and this is the Shah Zaku 2 that I just mentioned here. So it's really nice. It pretty much just replaces itself on destroy. So during pair, when it's destroyed, you place a rested Shah Zaku 2 token, So again, this is one of those ones where it'll help you get your Char into your trash so that your Gelgoog can then suck it up during your main phase. And it'll usually be like a nice little trade into a body as well. And then again, replacing itself with the token, really nice and definitely a staple part of Zeon Rush. We've got the Big Zam here, and I think it's definitely an interesting card. I think people are going to play it just for the meme of the Big Zam. But in practice, I mean, it's okay, I would say. 4 or more Zeon or Neo Zeon unit cards in your trash deal 4 damage to all units with blocker. Given that you have to have 10 or more Zeon or Neo Zeon units in cards in your trash, I really would have liked to see this maybe deal less damage, but to everything instead of 4 damage to all blockers and everything like that. But a 5/6 with Breach 4, nothing really to scoff at for sure. It's a big body. But at the end of the day, I think that's kind of all it really is. Gundam Sandrock here. I think if you focus in on this a lot, it's nice. But we definitely still need more of those card draw and filtering effects to make sure that you actually have something in hand to play off of his deploy. Otherwise, it's a little bit of a feels bad, I would think. But I think as the game goes along, this might see more play. Shenlong, now this is one that I think is going to start seeing more play. It's definitely something that I'm going to be putting into my green-white deck. And I believe the green-white deck that did well at one of the Gen Con tournaments actually ran this in place of the AL Strike and Kira. They instead ran the Shenlong and the Chang Wufei pilot to go along with it. I like it a lot. Breach 4 isn't going to be breaking a lot of bases, but it can either like finish off a base that you've already hit, or it's just going to break a shield regardless. And the on attack, choose an enemy unit with blocker that's level 3 or lower and destroy it. Main blockers that we're seeing in the game at the moment are the Lefrith and the Zoort. Both of those are level 3 or lower. This is just going to get them out of the way, and you can even swing into, if they have one of each or some combination of the two, you're going to pop one and then probably swing through the other one, which is really, really nice. So one that wasn't seeing a lot of play, but I think is going to start picking up a lot now. Also has probably one of the best alt arts in the game as well. Was very happy to get this one out of the box. I have sold it, which is a bit of a shame now that I've decided that I'm going to be running the Shenlong Gundam. But yeah, absolutely stunning alt art on this one. We've got our Rick Dom here. If you're going Zeon, I think you're definitely running this. Just a 2-cost 3/3 with Breach 2. Not going to be breaking any bases for sure, but getting through shields at least, and it's nice to just, 3/3 is a nice kind of stat line to just hurl into something, I guess. Gelgoog, again, this kind of gets run for the same reason that the Rizel does, and it is Zeon as well, so you can kind of match up your trait for the Zeon Rush decks, being that it's just a nice little 2-cost 4/3, and it can link with the Zeon trait as well, which is kind of cute. For the Gyan, it kind of just feels like a slightly worse Shenlong, being that it needs to be paired, and then you choose an enemy unit with blocker that's level 2 or lower and destroy it. So yeah, like I said, kind of just feels like a slightly worse Shenlong, but if you are going Zeon, Neo Zeon, you'll probably want to be running this, I would say. Gundam Death Scythe, the kind of not legendary rare one, it's an okay one. It's a nice stat line being level 2 4/3. The repair one I don't find comes up a lot, just because I think if this was a 3/4, the repair one would come up more. But I think if you'll be hurling this into stuff, and then it's just going to die in response, so the repair's not actually going to proc. If it comes up, that's nice, but I don't see it coming up super often. Heavy Arms, this is a funny one, I think. Personally, I'm preferring the Heavy Arms from the actual starter deck if you're going to run it. But just a nice little static during pair it gains Breach 3 is kind of nice. But then, yeah, it's okay, I think. Zaku 2, just a level 2 1-cost 2/2. I think it does what it wants Zeon to do. It's just a nice low to the ground body that you can pop out, that you can hurl through stuff, and something that can be played off of a full frontal at least. So good for that, I would say. Goof, similar to that. Again, just good for that kind of Zeon Rush style. It's kind of just a better Zaku, essentially. It's a vanilla 3/2 that's level 2 and 2 cost. So just a nice little body to throw out with like your full frontal or something like that, or if you have no other plays to make. Gog for the same reason, but probably slightly worse since it's a 2/3 instead of a 3/2. But it's a low level. It's got the Zeon trait, so your full frontal can throw it. Adzam, I'm not thinking this one's particularly good. Level 5, so it's a pretty high level. 4 cost for a 2/5, so it's alright. And then if there's 5 or more enemy units in play, deal 1 damage to all enemy units. I think for the restriction of needing 5 enemy units in play for the payoff of dealing 1 damage to all of them, not huge, I think. 2, maybe? But 1 damage, nah, I think it's okay. Top, I think this is probably one of the cards that is holding Zeon Rush together at the moment. It is a deploy look at the top of your top card of your deck and return it to top or bottom, so a Scry from Magic if you play that. Just a nice level 1 cost. I don't think you'll probably just send this into things just to like chip a damage off a base or break a shield if you've already gotten through the base or somehow. But the filter is really nice for finding your pieces in Zeon Rush. Got the Wing Gundam here. I think this is an okay card in sealed, and that's about it. I just think being the 2-cost 4/3 is definitely nice. It's just that level 5 level restriction. In the Wing Gundam deck, once you're level 5 or around that point, I think there's just more impactful things that you can do than this. We have the other Shenlong Gundam, so not the rare one, and it's kind of just is a less good Shenlong, essentially. Level 4 3 costs for a 4/3 with Breach 3, so its Breach is lower, it doesn't have the pop effect. Just run the other Shenlong instead of this, pretty much. Duo's Leo, this unit may choose an active enemy that's level 2 or lower as its attack target. It's alright. If you are missing some cards for Operation Meteor or like the kind of green-white wing deck, you might run this, but I don't think it's that good. Rashid's Maganak, this is one of the ones that you can kind of stuff into your deck if you are running Sandrocks. It'll basically, so if you were to run like 4 of this and 4 of the regular Maganak, you'd have 8 targets in deck to be playing off of Sandrock, which is alright. And then on deploy, choose one of your green units. During this turn, it may choose an active enemy unit with 4 or less AP as its attack target, which it's an okay effect. Yeah, if you're going to run Sandrock, you'll run this, and I don't think anything else, pretty much. Here is Duo, so we mentioned him before, but that during Link effect, this unit's AP can't be reduced by enemy effects is huge. This is one of the reasons that green-white is doing quite well into blue-white at the moment, and I think people are starting to kind of realize that it goes very well into blue-white, because one of the things that makes blue-white so strong is being able to reduce enemy units' AP so that you can be swinging into them and taking out their units without losing your own. So I think he's really good purely just for that, and then the +1/+2 makes Death Scythe quite big as well. Shang Wu Fei, so we definitely want this in the deck if we are choosing to run the rare Shenlong as well. And basically during your turn while this unit has Breach, it can't receive battle damage from enemy units with 3 or less HP. Now, that's also not a link or pair effect, or I suppose it would be a link effect technically, but not a pair effect, so if you are putting it on underneath anything that has Breach, that's really nice as well. +2/+1, definitely nothing to scoff at there, making your already big green units even bigger. And if you're going through their Lafrits and their Zoorts, then you're not taking any damage in return, which is really nice. A cute little combo that was pointed out to me with this as well is that if you swing into something that has at least 6 AP as well, if you then, during the action step, play an unforeseen incident, then it'll drop them to 3 or less, and you're not going to take any damage in response while you swing through them in Breach as well, which I think is a really funny combo. So we've got Makuv here. We're going to be wanting him in any of our Zeon rush decks. While this unit is Zeon, it gains Breach 1. Obviously best to have it under your Yarn so that it's got the link. But I think this is, if you're going to be doing that Zeon rush strategy, I definitely think you want to be putting Makuv into it as well. Breach 1, it's obviously only going to be good for shields, but if you've got enough units on the board like Zeon Rush wants, then just that 1 Breach for the shield is going to be perfect. Citizens, take a stand. All of your units get +2 AP during this turn. I think this one reads better than it actually is, but if you get a wide enough board in Zeon, I suppose it's good, but I don't think it's as good as it seems. Fortress Defense here, being able to deploy 2 Zaku 2s with 1/1s. I think if you're going to run the Big Zam, then you would want to be putting this in just for the pilot for Dozel Zabi. But the fact that this is a 2-cost deploy 2 tokens that aren't rested is actually pretty big. So I think this would definitely be something to play, if not only for that deploying two tokens, just because, again, they aren't rested like most of the other token generation in Zeon Rush is. So I think it's pretty important because of that. First Contact, definitely a staple card in Wing. I was a little bit worried about this when I played it in the beta format because the level 3 cost felt a bit much then, but after playing it now, it definitely feels quite good. I think this is an easy 3 to 4 of in Green White Wing. Strategic Arms, this is bad. Level 6 cost, massive level, massive cost for 2 damage to all enemy units with blocker. I do not think this is good. Yeah, no, goodbye. Path to victory or defeat. This is an immediate 3 or 4 of in your wing deck. So it's just a look at top 5 and you can grab a pilot or a unit that has the Operation Meteor or G team. Being level 5 is big, but being level, like, only 1 cost at that level, really, really important. So I think you absolutely have to have this card. It's not card draw per se, but it's looking at top 5 and filtering. That's exactly what you need to be finding your Wing Zeros, your Death Sights, and the pilots to go along with them. Rashid's Orders, I think if you, again, are kind of leaning into that Sandrock strategy of running a lot of Maganak Corps, then you'll want to run this. Kind of does the same thing that the Rashid's Maganak does, where it just allows one of your other units to be swinging into active enemy units, which is it's okay. Again, if you're doing that kind of Maganak strategy, then I definitely think you want this, but not really other than that. And lastly, onto our bases. First of all, we have the Zanzibar. This is definitely a very good base, I think, again, for that Zeon Rush strategy. Once this is deployed, you'll do the usual of adding a shield to hand then if it's your turn. So not as good if this bursts out of shields, but if it's your turn, you deploy a Zeon unit card that's level 4 or lower from your hand. That can kind of combo into more of those ones that can play more, or you're just getting a body onto the board ready to go. So I think this is definitely a good base. And then we've got the Underground Desert base. This has definitely seen a lot of use, and I see why. Just the nice low to the ground level 2 1 cost for a completely vanilla base with 6 health is surprisingly obnoxious. This can take a while for your opponent to get around, to be honest. I was surprised by how much of a difference there is between a base with 5 health and 6 health. This is definitely a staple in a lot of green decks, I think. Alright, next up, moving into red, and this is probably where a lot of both my favorite and, to be honest, least favorite cards in the set are. This is definitely what I've been looking forward to doing. Starting off with, we have the Glorious Kshatriya. I love this card. This is holding red, blue, ping together. When paired with either a sub, a Newtype, or a Newtype pilot, we choose 1 to 2 enemy units and deal 1 damage to them. It is naturally a 5/4, which is pretty solid for a level 5 4 cost, and then it links with Murray to Cruise. The nice ability to spread the damage with this is surprisingly useful. And yeah, this is easily one of, like, if you're running red, blue, ping, this is a 3 or 4 of, no questions asked. Love the alt art for this one as well. I didn't mention it before, but this art is actually linked with the Unicorn Gundam art from the Unicorn Destroy mode. So while they're not going in the same deck together, I would really like to get a couple of those arts together, since my 2 main decks at the moment are Unicorn and Kshatriya, basically. We've got the Dual Gundam Assault Shroud. Now, this is an interesting one. The card itself, I think, is good. Being able to look at the top 3 cards of your deck and play a Zaft unit that's level 4 or lower from among them. The key thing there being that it plays the unit out from the top 3. The problem is that it is Zaft. Now, Zaft is an interesting one at the moment. I like what it's going for, but the execution just isn't really there yet. Essentially what Zaft wants is it wants all of its units to, when they're attacking and things like that, to have 5 AP or higher to get additional effects, which I think is cool and it's interesting, but there's just not enough payoff, essentially. So I'd really like to see Zaft get some more support in coming sets to kind of realize more what it wants to do. So for now, it's a neat gimmicky deck, but I don't think the payoff is really good enough to warrant it, essentially. Right, for our other red legend, we've got the Buster Gundam here, and when this one got announced, this was kind of one of those things where Like, I read it and I loved what it was doing, and then the rest of the set got spoiled, and Zaft just wasn't doing enough to make it useful. It's really cool what it does because it's got support 3, meaning that you can rest it on your main phase to give one of your other units plus 3 AP. So really, really helpful for, again, that 5 AP threshold that a lot of your Zaft units want to get their payoff. Then, during his pair with a coordinator pilot, which are the Zaft pilots, if you support a Zaft unit, then you get to set it as active, so you can attack with it as well. And I think that's a really cool idea for the card. But again, Zaft just doesn't have the payoff in the rest of the cards in the deck for this effect to really be good enough, essentially. It is a great effect within what Zaft wants to do. Unfortunately, what Zaft wants to do just isn't quite good enough, essentially. Jamblo, this is one that I've been going backwards and forwards a lot on. I want to put this on into my red-blue ping deck, and it's basically just a completely, like, it doesn't need to be linked for this, but obviously it's nice if you can, or paired, I should say. Nice if you can link it, and that's just on attack if 2 or more other rested friendly units are in play, choose an enemy unit and deal 3 damage to it. And this links with either a Newtype or Cyber Newtype trait, which is really, really nice. And it is a 6/5, so it's definitely a big body. Now, like I said, this is one that I've been umming and ahhing about a lot. I think I'm settling on the decision to not put it in the deck, just because it is level 8/7 is big for red-blue. You really want to be going as fast as you can in that deck, and I think you will often get to that level 8 point in the game, but I think at that point there's probably more impactful things that you can do rather than play this. And I think just because red and blue wants to keep your opponent's board under control as much as possible, I'm not sure how often you're going to have 2 or more other rested friendly units in play to get that 3 damage. It's a nice payoff. I just think the conditions for that payoff might be a little bit too much with just what the deck wants to do. I think I'm still a bit undecided on it, to be honest, but I think at the moment I'm leaning towards it's not as good as I'd hoped it would be. We've got the Zaku 1 Sniper type. Now, I don't play Zeon Rush, but I have a friend that does, so I'm kind of waiting to hear from them what they think of this card. It's one that I keep flipping backwards and forwards on a lot. It's nice and low to the ground, which again is exactly what Zeon wants, and it's going to filter the top of your deck for a Zeon or Neo Zeon unit card. I think the main thing I'm concerned about is just that unit card kind of restriction on what you can grab. So it's a nice one. It'll replace itself if you see a Zeon or Neo Zeon unit card. Like, if you flip a full frontal or a Char off the top of this, that's going to feel really bad because it then goes to the bottom and you may not get that back for the rest of the game. So it's also got the support 1 ability, which is kind of cute. I think as soon as this gets turned sideways to do that support, it's probably just going to be a lightning rod and swung straight into, because it's a 0/1, it's a free hit, essentially. So I will say the jury is not out on this one. I think it's okay. Got the Blitz Gundam, so starting to get a look at our other Zaft units here. This is on deploy, choose one of your Zaft units with 5 or more AP, and it gets first strike this turn. So again, needing to wait to play this until you have a 5 or more AP Zaft unit, which you need to use your effects to actually get a lot of your Zaft units with 5 or more AP. The first strike is definitely a solid payoff for it, I think. But I think this is probably one of the better payoffs at the moment. So given that that's what one of the better ones is, I think you can probably see kind of why maybe it's not doing as good as it could necessarily. Another Zaft one here with the Legal. If it's got 5 or more AP and it's attacking an enemy unit, you choose an enemy. Deal 2 damage to it. I think it's another solid payoff, but given that this guy's only 2 AP to start with, that 5 AP threshold is going to be tricky, especially if you don't see your Buster Gundam. Got the Inset Vanilla Kshatriya as well, so level 4 2 cost for a Vanilla, 3/4 linking with a Cyber Newtype. If you don't see the other Kshatriya, but you do have a Marida in hand or another Cyber Newtype, this is definitely good. I'm absolutely running this in the red-blue deck at the moment. Got the Girazulu Guards type. This is a pretty cool one. Just on deploy, choose an enemy unit and deal 1 damage to it. It's more expensive than your gun tanks in blue if you're going to be running this in blue-red ping, and that's pretty much purely because of the fact that, one, its stats are bigger, and it doesn't have to choose a rested enemy unit, so that can be a nice payoff, but 3 might be a little bit expensive for that kind of effect in the red-blue deck. Giradoga Heavy Arm type. This one's an alright one, paying 1 to choose an enemy unit with 2 or less AP and deal damage to it. This one was a menace at my locals for our sealed event, but I haven't really seen it floating around since then. More Zaft units here with the normal dual Gundam, so this is one of your ones that wants to have 5 or more AP. It's got 3 natively, so a little bit easier to get that 5 AP threshold, and then it gets Breach 3, so it'll break through any EX bases or maybe any damage base, depending on how much is on it. I think this is mainly going to be for going through EX bases or shields, though. Yeah, it's alright if you are doing Zaft. And another Zaft card here with the Buckyu, so activate main, support 2. Support 2 is a nice number for it, so for example, like, we're looking at our, where did it go? Our dual Gundam here, it's going to get it over the 5 AP threshold, but then if we're looking at the Blitz Gundam here, oh, actually, no, not that one, I'm sorry, the Legao, this one does want to have 5 or more AP. This is on 2, so it's going to get you right below it, so you're going to be needing other ways to also get that 5 AP threshold. But again, if you are running Zaft, you are running this card for sure. Giradoga Sleeves, so this one's okay. I liked it in, again, Sealed. It's on Destroy, choose an enemy unit with 5 or less HP and deal 1 damage to it. If you were swinging into something that maybe the Giradoga Sleeves just couldn't quite finish off and then it lost in return, and then maybe that 1 damage will make up for it. But it's an okay card. Bryson Sleeves, not the best one, I think. I think there's probably, it's one of your low ground vanillas, level 2 cost 2/3. It's an alright stat line, but I'm not sure how playable this one is. Gallus K here, we've got a action step, pay 1 to choose a unit that's level 4 or higher and it gets AP +1. With what Zeon wants to do, I don't think this is the most playable, mainly just because they're level 5 or higher. It might be nice as a cheeky little, you're trading in but can't, but you've lowered my AP or something, maybe you can increase it enough, but I'm not sure if the +1 is really enough for that kind of thing. Z Zulu, I think this is a nice EX base breaker, or even helping take out the bigger bases as well. So it's just attack. If you're attacking the enemy player, it gets +2 AP during the battle. So I think if this one sticks onto the board the turn you play it, and then you can get around to your next one, this is definitely good for breaking bases for sure. Lucky Mariner, little 1 cost 2/2. Yeah, it's an alright one. Not too much else to say about it. I think it's alright. We have the Zoot, another Zaft unit that has a support 1, and that's pretty much all it's going to do. The level 1 cost, so you can get it out nice and early, so hopefully you can get a couple of these onto the board. Only being support 1 is a little bit which means that it has to be, you're going to be supporting with at least one other thing a lot of the time, unless you're talking about pilots as well. And again, similar to the Zaku Sniper type, because this is a 0 AP thing, you're probably going to support with it once, and then your opponent's just going to blast through it because it's just a free thing off the board, essentially. And then the Goon, it's the level 1 cost, whatever they want to do. Being a 1/2, I suppose it's maybe slightly better than others, but otherwise it's not going to see play, I don't think. We've also got the during your turn while this unit's battling an enemy unit that is level 2 or lower, it gains first strike on the Zno. Not an effect that will come up, I think, unless you are playing Seals. If it comes up, great, but I don't think it's going to come up. And then the Din, just a level 2 cost 3/2. A nice-ish stat line for that cost and level, essentially. Getting into our red pilots, we've got Marida, my lovely Marida Cruise, holding together my red-blue deck. It is either see this pilot or lose, basically. But it is a +2/+1, so nice little attack boost there. And then during link, she'll be linking with a couple of the units in the deck. On attack, you choose an enemy unit whose level is equal to or lower than this unit and deal 1 damage to it. Not once per turn, so if you do have something like the Banshee that can swing multiple times, it's really, really nice. But again, yeah, this is 100% see this or you're not going to be doing a whole lot. I love this part. Love this pilot. She's great. We've got Isaac Jewel here. So he's a +1/+1 on his pilot side. Given that he's Zaft, I would have liked to maybe see the AP a little bit higher. So when a specifically enemy link unit is destroyed with damage while this unit's attacking, weird way of wording that, but I suppose it kind of gets around like if you're maybe it's under like your maybe it's under your Legao or something like that, or just something else that can deal damage like an Aegis. It's just such a strange restriction. I really don't think you're going to be drawing a whole lot off of this. Again, if you're playing Zaft, you're going to be running this just because of the card pool that you have, but I don't think this is a good card. Then there's the Dearka Elftham, so it's when linked, discard 1 if you do draw 1. If you do have him linked, which obviously you'll want to, this is a nice little bit of filtering that Zaft definitely 100% needs, just to try and find all your pieces. Definitely better than Mizak at least. Battle of Aces, choose one damage enemy unit and deal 3 damage to it on both main and action, and a nice little burst to deal 2 damage coming out of shields as well. It's a pretty solid one, I'd say. I'm surprised we're not seeing more of it. It may just be because of that 2 cost, or just because there's better cards to run at the moment, but I think if the game evolves, we'll probably see this floating around a bit. Then we've got the Loni Garvey here, Extreme Hatred as the command pilot. So main, you can choose 2 of your active units and rest them. If you do, choose 1 enemy unit and deal 3 damage to it. This is a kind of cute little combo with the Shamblow at the very least. Like if you've got a couple units out already, you can rest 2, deal 3 damage to something. Then if that doesn't finish it off, you'll swing in with the Shamblow and you've got 2 rested enemy units, so you'll deal another 3 damage to something. Or yeah, I would say these 2 are definitely meant to be used together. I don't think I've seen Shamblow in the anime. I'd assume Loni is probably Shamblow's pilot. So I think that's a cute little combo between the 2 of them, but it does feel a little bit bad that you're either putting Loni under Shamblow or you're playing this effect. Desert Tiger, main and action, you can choose a friendly Zaft unit and gets AP +3 during this turn, and then it's a +1/+0. Again, being a Zaft pilot, I would have liked to see a little bit more AP on that. But I suppose the whole like +1 on one stat and +0 on another is kind of what we see with command pilots. So I suppose it's not really out of the question. If you're running this, you're mainly going to be using it for that main and action on the command side to reach that 5 HP threshold. And then Torrington base here, choose 2 friendly units, they get AP +1 during this turn. While this one isn't Zaft, I think you definitely want this in Zaft. Again, just because you might be able to get a couple of your units to their 5 HP threshold using this. Otherwise, it's a +1/+0. It's alright. Another main action here with just choosing an enemy unit and dealing a damage to it. It's a solid one, just a level 2 1 cost. Yeah, I've seen it floating around a little bit, not as much as I thought I would, but yeah, it's an okay card. Stealth Stratagem, we've got choose 1 enemy unit with AP 2 or less and deal 2 damage to it. It's an okay command pilot. It doesn't have any AP on its pilot side, given that it's a Zaft one, so I don't think it's particularly good. And the main or action command card side of things doesn't really contribute to towards what Zaft wants to do. So yeah, I'm not really seeing the use of this one too much. And then lastly, onto our bases. First of all, we've got the Gamau. This is a Zaft one to give one of your friendly Zaft units, again, with 5 or more HP, breach 3 for the battle. It's an okay payoff. Again, it can help you, like if you're swinging into enemy units, trying to keep them under control to still break through some shields. But it is Zaft, so make of that what you will. And then similar to the green base that does the same thing, I think this is playable for exactly the same reason. It's just a nice and simple 1 cost vanilla 6 health base. Again, just that 6 health base is really obnoxious, so I think if you're in red, just play this because it's good for that same reason. Alright, lastly, wrapping up with white, and we are starting off with the big bad scary man of the format. It is the Freedom Gundam. So, this is a level 7 5 cost, that is a blocker, 4/6, very big naturally for a blocker as well. And during pair, once per turn, and keep in mind that this effect does trigger when you pair it as well. When you pair a pilot with this unit or one of your white units, choose an enemy unit and gets AP -2 during this turn. So this is probably one of the main reasons, this and Kira, why blue and white is just so good at trading, because it's just minimizing the damage that it's taking when it's swinging into your units. One Freedom Gundam on the board is annoying. Two Freedom Gundams on the board is annoying, and this is something that I have experienced since first filming this segment. It's part of one of the ones that I wanted to come back and talk about how annoying the Freedom Gundam is. Yeah, it's just they'll make it so that they're just breaking through your board, not taking any damage in return, and everything like that. This is a very strong card and probably one of the best cards in the set, I would say, if not the best. 4/6 naturally, and then it just becomes an obnoxiously large blocker when it has a pilot under it. Especially when you have like a Benaja Lynx or something and this thing becomes a 6/8 blocker. It's big, it's annoying to get rid of, and half the time you get rid of one and your opponent just slams down another one. As someone that plays blue-white, it's great. As someone who's played against blue-white, I hate it. But yeah, this is the card to keep an eye out for on the battlefield, I would say. Very, very strong. Justice Gundam, I'd really like to see this get more play, and I have seen a couple people playing it. Basically pops out a little 2/2 blocker token on deploy, and then when it attacks, if it's paired, you choose one of your specifically triple ship alliance unit tokens, and it can attack on the turn that it's deployed. It does pair with, it does link, I should say, with Atherin, meaning that you have to run this as red-white if you're wanting to kind of make the most of that. I think this will be, it's pretty solid at the moment. Again, just because it's a 5-cost 5/5 block. Oh, well, it's not a blocker actually, but it makes a block up really. So it's a 5-cost make 2 bodies essentially. I think once this has, if we get more cards that can make triple ship alliance tokens, this will be really good. For now, I think it's kind of middle of the ground, leaning to. And then the aerial rebuild, I've seen some lists running it, some not. It's an interesting one, but basically it's a 5-cost 5/4 pairing with Soletta, choosing a command card when paired that's level 5 or lower from your trash and add it to your hand. So this is just nice for recycling like your Overflowing Affections, which we'll see very shortly, and your Show of Resolves. Again, those draw cards making blue-white so consistent and powerful. It's just the whole, I suppose when it's paired, makes it quite good as well. I've seen some decks running it, some not. I'm not running it currently, but if you're kind of leaning more into the Academy side of blue-white as well, I think you definitely. Perfect Strike, this is a really good alternative for the Ale Strike Gundam. I've seen people running both, or a lot of the times it's like if you don't have Ale Strike, then you'll run this instead. So it's just a 3-cost 4/4 blocker, which is great. And on deploy, choose an enemy unit with 1 HP and return it to its owner's hand. So a little bit more situational than the Ale Strike's bounce is, but again, this is a really good alternative for if you don't have Ale Strike, I would say. Strike Rouge, so this basically is a Archangel on legs. So the base that can pay 2 once per turn to stand a blocker. It is cheaper, but at the same time, it's on a unit, meaning that it's more susceptible to be buggered off, essentially. So I think because of that, it's not necessarily seeing as much play. But as the meta evolves, I wouldn't be surprised if more people just wanting to, or being able to make room for more of those like standing blocker effects, that this starts to see a little bit more play. Gundam Aerial, again, I think this is more relegated to the Academy side of blue-white, but it's basically just a really nice little 1-cost 3/3 if you've got 4 or more command cards in your trash. So the aerial rebuild kind of goes against this a little bit, but at the same time, by the time you've gotten to rebuild, you probably have more than 4 anyway, so getting a command card out of the trash shouldn't affect this really. Definitely good if you do see it though, and you do have that kind of setup with the Academy trait deck. Gundam Faract, it's a during link on attack, choose an enemy unit, it gets AP -2. Again, it's kind of like a smaller version of the Freedom, I guess, but it has to be linked and it's only when it attacks. But again, kind of contributes to that really efficient trading that blue-white can do. Again, good if you're doing that Academy trade side of things more. Launcher Strike Gundam, so it's a level 3 or a level 4 3-cost blocker with 3/4. I think that 3 cost is probably what's keeping this one out a little bit, because you've just got more efficient blockers in the Gundam Lafrith, which we'll see very soon, and the Zaward from Starter Deck 1. Again, yeah, it's just going to be that 3-cost holding it back, I think, just because the other 2 are a bit more efficient, essentially. Sword Strike Gundam, I think this one's all right. I think if you were going purely into like more of a kind of seed focused strategy, like you just wanted to run a lot more Gundam Seed cards because you like Gundam Seed, you'd probably run this. Otherwise, it's kind of just better to run, again, the Hail Strike from the starter deck. You choose Demi Trainer. I loved this one in Seals. Just a nice little low to the ground 3-1, that on attack, draw 1, then discard 1. Nice little bit of filtering. I'm not sure how playable it is now. I'm not seeing it around too much, but again, in Sealed, I really like this card a lot. Garibaldi, again, great for that Academy side of things, I would say. And again, as I've said for a couple of kind of the rares, uncommons, and commons, and so on and so forth, I liked them a lot in the Sealed version that we did on release day. But just being able to return a low to the ground body back up to its owner's hand is nice and getting things out of the way. But not super impressive outside of that. Michaelis, again, doing that kind of Academy trait thing where they want to have command cards in trash, just makes him slightly bigger, so he becomes a 2-cost 4/4 instead of a 3/3. But linking with Academy trait, which the Garibaldi did as well, is definitely a nice little touch as well. Strike Gundam, kind of similar to what we talked about earlier with the vanilla inset Gundam. I think if you've got it and you want to run it, you can do so, that's fine. It's a solid enough stat line, and you're going to be running Kira Yamato in the decks that you run this in, so you're likely to see its link target as well. Mistral, just choosing an enemy unit, and it gets AP -1 during this turn on deploy for a 1-cost 1/1. I don't think this is particularly good. Sky Grasper, again, we've seen this in a couple of the other colors as well, but a level 2, 2-cost vanilla with 2/2. Granted, it is a low-cost unit that, a low-level unit that has a link target, so I suppose there's that. But it's not that good. Kargali Sky Grasper here, I think it's a little bit restrictive on that level 2 or lower. A lot of units I see in the meta that are getting played at the moment are kind of... There's definitely some level 2 units that you might be returning with this, although it is on Destroy, which isn't fantastic. But a lot of units tend to be like level 3 or 4, so I don't think you'll get super much out of this, essentially. M1 Astray, this is good, I think, if you are doing blue-white blockers, if you are going to lean into that Justice side of things, the Justice Gundam, which definitely, again, I have seen around. It just makes this guy a nice little 3/2 blocker, so if you're leaning into that side, I definitely think you wanna run Astray. Mirasil Flight unit here, not really seeing this one around a whole bunch, but again, if you are going that Academy trait, you probably want to be running this. But if it is paired, you can just lower something's AP a little bit during battle. On the action step as well, which is kind of nice, but holding up 2 resources for it might be a little bit much. But not bad if you are going Academy. Jules Delanza, again, we just have a level 2 unit that has a link target that's a 2/2. Not too much to say about it. I don't find these super impressive. Big A Pente, slightly more impressive, I guess, if you want to consider it that much, because it has 1 more HP but has no link target. So again, I'm not super blown away by this. Demi Garrison, same thing. It's all right, I suppose, because it's a 1-cost with 2/2, but again, no link target. So I'm good, thank you. And here we have the Gundam Lafrith. This is one I've talked about a couple times, and it's just a super efficient blocker, essentially. It's a level 3 2-cost with blocker, and it's a 2/4, so it's nice and low to the ground. It has that 4 health, which is really nice, given that it's only a 2-cost. If you're running blue-white, or you're running white and you want blockers, you're doing the Gundam Lafrith, and you're doing the Zoward, essentially. Great card. We've got Kagali here. If you are, again, I think you're probably maybe running this if you've got the Justice. But it basically just makes any white unit a blocker with a +1/+1. It's alright. Fuel, he reads good, but this is bad, basically. If your opponent has 8 or more cards in their hand, you set this unit as active on your main phase once per turn, and it can't attack during this turn. I think if you want to put a restriction like your opponent needing to have 8 or more cards in their hand, then it should be able to attack this turn. This is not a good card. We've got Ellen, who you want to be sticking under your Gundam Farracht. So as an action once per turn, if an enemy unit with 1 or less AP is in play, this unit recovers 1 HP. So I suppose this is probably solid if you've just swung in with your Farracht, and it's reduced something to 1 AP and then like swung into it or something like that, or maybe you reduce something else and swung into something else, then you can recover your Farracht. So probably only good if you're going for the Academy side of things. Witch and the Bride, I think I'm a bit surprised that this isn't being run as much. It's a 2-cost main action. You can choose an enemy unit with 5 or less HP and return it to its owner's hand. To me, I think the effect is good. Like 5 or less HP is a pretty open restriction, I think. And only 2 cost for an action step that does this kind of thing. Again, yeah, I'm kind of surprised this isn't being played more. And there we have Overflowing Affection, of course, the other big, bad, scary card draw spell that blue-white has access to. But if you are running white, 100% you're doing this as a 3 or 4 of, probably 4 of. Just a really low cost, 1 cost, draw 2, then discard 1. So it's basically like a net even because you're discarding this and something else to get 2 in hand, so your hand staying net even. But just that bit of filtering is really, really nice. And into some command pilots, we've got Iron Fisted Discipline. This one's alright, I think. Again, just talking about the Academy trait. If you're wanting to run that side of things, you'll probably run this, but otherwise, no. Naval Bombardment, this is one that I liked a lot during Sealed, but haven't seen a whole lot since then. Very nice to come out of Shield, I would say, as long as your opponent's relatively low to the ground, because you can lower something else that they may attack with to 0 AP and then it can't break any shields. Or on action step, you choose a friendly enemy unit with a blocker and it gets AP +3 during the turn. Again, this was cute in Seals. There was a couple nice little combos where an opponent would attack me, I'd block, and then use this to make it so my blocker took out what they were attacking with when it wouldn't have previously. But again, yeah, haven't really seen it around since then. Mid-air modifications, I think this one's probably going to see a bit more play going forwards, once people kind of see it, I guess. But choose a 1-rested unit with blocker, set it as active, it can't attack. So this is an Archangel for when you don't have your Archangel, more or less, or that you can do multiple units with blockers. I definitely think this is good. I reckon it'll see some more play going forward once it gets picked up a bit more. Overrated Operative, again, you'll be running this if you have Academy, I'd say, just because it's a command card that you can use to contribute to your command cards in trash count. And then it's a pilot with the Academy trait, which a couple of the Academy units do link with, which is nice, but not super impressive outside of that. And then to wrap up with our couple bases, we've got the Kusanagi here. This one's okay, not huge. 2 cost for a 4 health base for bouncing something that's 3 or less HP. I think I kind of like this a little bit better than the blue base that was kind of similar, but I still don't super like it just because of that 2 cost, more or less. And then lastly, the 13th Tactical Testing Sector. This basically gives an enemy unit -1 AP if we rest it, and we have a friendly Academy unit in play. Again, if you have Academy, you'll probably do this, but I don't think this is a very good card outside of that. Alright, and then that is all 4 of our colours there, so thank you so much for sticking around. I know this was a bit of a longer video because of that decision to add the starter decks and this one together, and again, it did take me a little bit longer to get out because I recorded all of the set 1 analysis and then decided that I hated it and started having other thoughts on cards or opinions that had changed on cards since actually getting into play the game. But at the very least, I think it's ended up better because of that. So I do hope that you kind of found this informative and helpful in kind of coming to terms with what cards you may want to run in your decks. But otherwise, if you have any differing opinions or anything else that you'd like to share about these cards that maybe you'd like that I don't, feel free to pop it down in the comments. I'd really like to hear everyone else's opinions. And let me know what kind of decks that you guys have been playing since the card game finally has launched now as well. I'd really like to see, I know we're seeing lots of blue-white and lots of green-white and a little bit of blue-red, which makes me a little bit happy since it is my favorite deck at the moment. But I'd really like to hear what you guys are playing as well. Are you maybe leaning into any of these more kind of typal strategies with the white-based team or Academy or Zaft, and kind of how much success are you seeing with those at the moment? So please do comment below so I can kind of have a look through what you guys are seeing in your locals as well. Other than that, we'll probably be looking at getting some more, some actual gameplay on the channel soon, so please look forward to that. And if I can find some decent information, we'll probably start looking at doing like a meta report type thing as well to see what's doing particularly well and having a look at lists for people that are doing well and so on and so forth. But otherwise, again, I do hope that you enjoyed this one and found it helpful for your deck building. We'll probably try and do this going forward for other things as they get revealed and shown off and whatnot. But aside from that, have a great day and I will see you all on the next one.